Hey guys, John Doerr here with Two Marine Dads again. Listen, I just got called lucky by somebody who had no idea the amount of effort I had put into something. I guess if you're gonna, in today's day and age, if you're gonna call the word luck for me would be one of my trigger words, whatever that is. Look, there's no such thing as luck. Okay, scratch that. I know a kid whose dad won $14 million in the lottery. All right, hey, that's luck. That's just dumb luck. I could say, honestly, I've walked across the gas station and found $100 on the ground. I picked it up. Hey, free gas for my truck. Hey, that was just dumb luck. But that kind of luck will break a man if he tries to pursue it. What I'm getting at is when people look at your house or they look at your business or they look at your car and they're like, oh, you got lucky. No, you didn't get lucky. That's where hard work and preparation meet on the demand curve. That's what luck is, It's been said, the harder I work, the luckier I get. And that's true. The more you work, the more doors that'll open up for you. I mean, just speaking for myself, I grew up on a farm. We were so poor we couldn't pay attention. Poor. We were in a shack. Okay, we didn't have a house. We had a shack. Okay, it was 4 walls. The electricity was on the outside. We had zero insulation. Okay, in Florida. The kitchen was also where you did your laundry. Okay, it was a tiny little house. Hey, it was my house and I'm proud of it. But we had no money. All right, but what I was exposed to was hard work. I watched my grandfather work. I watched my dad work, and he was on the farm. I learned how to cut. I learned how to weld and all that kind of stuff. So it wasn't all bad, but we had no wants, very few wants, but all our needs were met. And I don't know how my mom did it, but she did. And kudos to her. Listen, what could I do to change myself? I'm telling you right now, my family enjoys a standard of living that is 10 times what I did growing up. And that's not because we got lucky, How does a husband and father of 3, end up in the upper middle class, middle to upper middle class? And it's through hard work, dedication, and opening your own doors. That's not luck. It's hard work. I got out of high school with a 2.5 GPA, so I didn't set the world on fire. What is that? That's a BC average at best. 96 hours later, was getting yelled at by drill instructors in Paris Island. And then I choked on the payments for my GI Bill. I was making about $400 every other week, and then 100 of which went out the door to the GI Bill. But I knew there was going to be an ROI, so I sacrificed up front. Same thing on the way out. Bush added a kicker, and I could get another, I think it was 10,000, something like this, if I put in another 600, and I did that. And even as a sergeant, I was taking home about $1,000 every other week, 100 of which went out the door. Trust me, that was impacted. I felt it. But I got out. I made sure I was honorably discharged. I took advantage of the GI Bill, and my mom had scrapped up something called Florida Prepaid back in the day. So I had that in addition to, so I made sure I graduated with no student debt. I went to a community college. I didn't go straight to the university. I stretched my dollars as far as I could. I lived with my cousin at his house, and maintaining it. And then we ended up splitting a place for the rest of the time when I was through college, and then in 2008, no one's hiring. So I found a company that was hiring, and I went to where the money was. They're not hiring in Florida, but they're hiring in Montana. So I moved to Montana. And what did I know about construction? Just what I'd been taught in school, so I started at the bottom there, as a 30-year-old honorably discharged Marine. They're like, hey, this is concrete. This is how it works. This is how you dig a trench. So, but again, I didn't get lucky. I got there through my work ethic, through being a professional, and through opening my own doors. You couldn't get in the door unless you had a degree in construction management or engineering or something like this. And I made sure that I got a degree in a field that would pay well, So then you fast forward, and mind you, I'm driving like an 11-year-old, 12-year-old truck, all right, moving to different states where I don't know anybody, don't know the first thing about Montana, moved there with my Florida winter clothes, which meant I was gonna die in Montana. So I had to go out and spend $300 on that just to get clothes so I literally wouldn't freeze. Renting another room from another couple that was there until my wife got out there, finished up her school year. So there was a lot of sacrifices. Then you fast forward another couple of years, the market tanks for real estate. I end up picking up a house that I choked on the payments because I'm on the low end of the pay scale. I'm making decent money, but taking home about $630 a week, all right, and trying to raise, at the time we only had one kid, And then we figured out how to get enough money put together to buy a house. I choked on those payments on that mortgage for daggum 3-4 years before enough pay raises came in to where it became comfortable to make those payments. So to pay the mortgage. So like, again, you look at it, oh, you got a nice house, you're lucky. No, I worked my ass off for it. And I don't want to be called lucky, because at the very worst, it's an outright insult, and at the very best, or at the very least, it's a backhanded compliment. Oh, you got lucky, And I'll give you one more anecdote too that comes to mind. Back in the day, my cousin was sitting across the table from my other cousin, which is also her husband, and she cited that, my cousin and my grandfather in the same sentence got lucky. And I was like, I was raised on the farm. I watched my grandfather toil in the fields. He learned Spanish so he could talk to the men. He was innovative. I watched him build this infield packing, basically a mobile packing house. And he did it by tearing apart a bus and putting conveyors on it and all kinds of crazy stuff. So like, he was innovative. Like, he figured out, I watched him talk about and explain how to plant crops months ahead of time. You're planting the crops so you can harvest when the market spikes, So he was doing that. He was analytical. Okay, well, if I plant this week instead of next week, the market's typically high, whatever, in January or whatever, March. So like, he figured that out, which down to the week when he should be harvesting. That's not luck. That's innovation. That's intellect. That's hard work. I mean, I wasn't around for watching it, but he explained to me how he cleared the land, how he put in irrigation canals, how he had multiple water sources, how he had elevation changes in the land, and showed me how all that worked, and how hard it was. I watched him spend 16 hours a day. I watched my uncle spend 16 hours a day out there sometimes, 7 days a week when you harvest, especially if it's cucumbers, because you leave them on the vine too long, they continue to grow, and they'll be too big for the damn pickle people to put in their jars. So like, everything's critical when you're farming. That's not luck. That's hard work and dedication. And yeah, my grandfather ended life a very wealthy man, because of it. But it had nothing to do with luck, and everything to do with hard work and dedication, preparation, a little bit of intellect. So anyway, if someone calls you lucky and you didn't scratch off the winning lottery ticket, you should be offended. That's all. Semper Fi.